Good boy, Tucker.
Welcome, everybody.
Welcome.
Hey.
Welcome.
Work smarter where you want.
Consistency is key.
And remember, if it's not in Redtail, it never happened.
This is learning at its most fun.
Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us today in another Thursday webinar. My name is Curtis, and I'm a trainer here. And today we're going to be covering another Redtail essential for integrations. All right, so in regards to integrations, I do want to point out that we do have so many different integrations with Redtail that today's topic isn't going to be covering each integration individually. I'm essentially going to be going over the different types of integrations that we have and how to get those set up and find more information so you can determine what you want to do to set up your Redtail database. All right, so with that in mind, first off on this next slide, what I want to talk about is the different integration types. So you'll notice that we have things like advisor tools, we have integrations with compliance, portfolio management, risk analysis. There's so many different types of integrations, and it can be a lot of information, especially if you don't know exactly what direction you want to go. One of the first things I suggest is to first go to our website. And so I'm going to switch over here. And our actual website of just going to redtailtechnology.com, it'll redirect you to just the corporate page. Now, if you want to find the different options for our actual partners, what you're going to do is come over here to the top, hover over support, and then the third column under other, you can select partners. This partners page is going to load, and it's going to essentially show you a logo for every single integration that we have available. You'll also notice that they're set up in those same different types. So for instance, you can come here and see under advisor tools, we have things like appointment reminder and Zapier. There's appointment reminder is actually a great integration to have. This can actually, you can set up to where it links with your calendar and sends out text or email notifications to your clients. So again, this is a great place to come to see what might be available. And again, we're just listing the name of the company that we integrate with on this page. And so again, you can scroll down, you can see that we have the different compliance integrations, custodians, all the way down to the very bottom, which is going to have our VoIP. So the voice over IP. So if you want to have like somebody call in and their contact record pop up, the ability to make faster notes, or even like our voice dictation. So again, this is one of the first places you might want to come to see what companies actually do integrate with Redtail. Now, on top of all these ones that are direct integrations with Redtail, if I come back up to the top, you're going to notice I have one right here called Zapier. This is actually a link to another integration all in itself. So Zapier is a company that sets up integrations between other companies. So not only do we have this whole list, if you integrate with Zapier, you have so many more companies that you can actually set up with. Now, if you get to this page and you're not sure how to set up the integration or what that integration necessarily does, the best place to start from there is to log into your Redtail CRM. And then up in the top right-hand corner, you're going to see we have our top right icons. I can hover over this question mark and then go straight to our Redtail help desk. All right, so again, in the top right-hand corner, I went to the question mark and then clicked on Redtail help desk. That's going to open me up to this page. And then what I can do is, first off, because we're integrating with the CRM, I'm going to click on Redtail CRM. And then I can scroll down just a little bit to the section that says integrations right here. Now, this is an amazing tool to find how to set up different integrations and what they do. You'll notice that we have all these start items are very similar to the types that we had set up. So if you're not sure which document storage integration you want to do or form filling software, you can click on one of those and then see the different options. So for instance, I can see, oh, hey, we do integrate with Laser App right here. I can click on that item. It'll open up a new page to the specific help desk article about Laser App. What this does is tells you what kind of integration type and then how to set it up. And then below that, if I scroll down, it'll show me the functionality and how to use this integration. So this is a lot of great information so I can learn exactly what I want to do and set up those different integrations. What you'll notice is most of these are going to be starting with going into the manager integration section, and we're definitely going to pop in there and show you how to do that. And so again, I do want to point out when you go to our main help desk page, first just click on Redtail CRM, and then you can scroll down and find the section that says integrations. Also, if you don't want to start straight from like what kind of integration it is, every single one is also listed in alphabetical order from here. So if you're not sure, it's an easier way or actually, if you're not sure if we integrate with them, this is a great place to go and then find it in alphabetical order and see if you can set up that integration. All right, so let's actually dive back over to the CRM. I'm going to click on this tab. And the first thing you want to do with your integrations is actually go to manage your integrations. So when I come up to the top right-hand corner, I'm going to click on my name and then down to manage your integrations. What this page shows is all of the integrations that are actually enabled in your database. Now, I do want to point out that just because it's enabled does not mean that it's set up to be working for your database. So for instance, I can have Constant Contact enabled, but if I don't have a Constant Contact account or if I haven't set up the further steps necessary, it's not going to be a usable integration just yet. Now, from this page, I can choose to either disable it by choosing the button that says on, switching it over to off, or I can go to the action icon and I can either choose settings or support. If I click support, it's going to take me over to the actual help desk article, the same ones that we were showing earlier, where it tells me how to set up this integration. The other option is to go to the action icon and then choose settings. And this is actually how I can set up the integration for this particular one. Now, not all of them have to be set up exactly the same way where you go to settings, but most of them on this page are. Now, I also want to point out that up in the top right-hand corner, we have the integrations icon. Now, a lot of the times I see people who have every single integration turned on, and maybe you don't use every single integration. It's actually probably almost impossible to use every single integration. Now, for instance, you'll see that I have things like DocuPaste and eMoney and MoneyGuide Pro. Like these are there, but maybe if I don't want them visible, or maybe if I want to add to this list, what I can do is back on this Manage Your Integrations page. So again, your name in the top right-hand corner, and then select Manage Your Integrations. I can tab over to the disabled section. So if I go to disabled, it's going to show me every single integration that's turned off. And so I can scroll down, I can find maybe an integration that I want to set up. So right over here, I can choose to turn this one on, and that's going to take it out of the disabled tab and move it over to the enabled. So I just enabled FMG Suite, and you'll notice it is now here. And I have the options to come over and I can just choose support. Now, again, this one isn't necessarily set up the same as all of our other integrations. I don't have a settings option, but if I do choose support, it's going to take me and show me how I can actually set that up. What you'll notice is this is actually going through and telling you to use the integration, and then it's going to ask you to sign on. Most of the time, if you choose to use the integration, then sign on, that is actually going to hold your sign-on information every single time, so you won't have to put in your username and password all the time. So let's go back to our database again. And now that FMG Suite is in my enabled tab, if I come to the top right-hand corner on integrations, you're going to notice it right here. So it wasn't there before when it was in disabled. Once it's in enabled, it's going to be available here. Now, also what I like to point out is not every single integration that is enabled here is going to show in the integrations tab up here. Now, that's because some only work when you're working with a specific contact. So for instance, Constant Contact isn't showing in that integrations tab even though it's enabled, but it doesn't mean that the integration is not set up. What that means is I might need to go to a contact record first. So if I go to my recently viewed, I'm just going to jump into Tim Taylor as our example. Once you're in a contact record and I come back over to integrations, you're going to notice I now have more options here because I couldn't do anything with Constant Contact until I was actually in a contact record. Same thing goes for a lot of these other integrations. So even though eMoney was showing, when I click on it now from within a contact, you'll notice I have the option to single sign-on or send to. The send to option is only there because I'm in a contact record. If I choose to leave the contact and just go back to the today page, and then go in the top right-hand corner to my integration section, then choose eMoney one more time, you'll notice the only option I have is single sign-on. So again, if you're using the integration and you notice something, a button is missing, it could possibly be that you need to go to the contact record first so you have the options, because a lot of these integrations are contact specific. It's not syncing directly with the database as a whole, it's syncing with individual contacts. Now, also when certain integrations are turned on or off, they're not always accessible in the integrations. I can actually, from the Today page, when I first log in, I can scroll down and you'll notice I have a few different integrations that are here, like Mobile Assistant and Copy Talk. Those are both voice dictation programs, and I can actually choose to see them and manage them from this page. Now, if I choose to use one over the other, I can then choose to turn off the other one, because most likely I'm not using two different voice dictation companies. So if you want to turn one off, or if you don't use either, you go again back to your name in the top right-hand corner, then choose Manage Your Integrations. Once you're on that page, you're going to locate it. And so I can actually come up here and I can turn off Copy Talk. So when I come back over to the Today page and I scroll down, I'm only seeing Mobile Assistant. Or again, if you don't use Mobile Assistant, you can go over and turn that one off as well. Now, some of the integrations that have to do with more specific things like the documents, let's say I go over to the recently viewed and go to Tim Taylor and click on his document section over here on the left-hand side. Those integrations that have to do with documents that can show here will if the integration is turned on. Now, again, you need to have it turned on in order to see it over here. So I'm going to stress this again. If you're not seeing the documentation, or sorry, if you're not seeing the integration, but it shows it should be in a certain place in the documentation on our help desk, most likely the integration could be disabled or it hasn't fully been set up. Or again, you need to be in a contact record in order to use that information. Now, a few other integrations are also accessible from the contact record. Instead of using integrations up here, they can be used with the common tasks. So inside of a contact record, over on the right-hand side, I can select common tasks. And then you'll notice I have send to constant contact, send to laser app, send to MailChimp. The same thing goes for those items. If these three items or these three integrations are turned off, I will not see them in this common task pop-up. Now, again, those ones that are in the common tasks are also very similar to the ones that only show if you're in the contact record. And so we do like to point out there's a lot of different places where you can set up those integrations and manage them itself. But I highly suggest using the integrations tab right up here to the top. And actually, we recently, just yesterday, did an update to where I no longer have to click on these items. I just hover over, and then I can easily see that information. All right. So other things I do want to talk about in regards to integrations is we do have over on the left-hand side, most of the time what you'll see is there might be a social icon there. And maybe you don't use that social. That social is actually set up for our social media integration with Twitter. So for instance, if you don't want to see it, like we're not seeing it now, and you go to your name in the top right and then manage your integrations, then I can come over to the disabled tab and then I can locate Twitter and turn that on. Well, once I refresh the page, let me go back to the main page here, you'll see the left navigation menu now has a social tab. And again, that's strictly setting up to have a Twitter account feed in so you can view the news feed. But again, I've talked to a few people who don't use that integration and they don't want it over here to the left-hand side. Easy enough. Again, all you have to do is go back to your name in the top right-hand corner, choose Manage Your Integrations, and then from there, you can scroll down, locate it, and then turn it off. So I'm just going to turn off Twitter right there. Perfect. And then when I refresh, I will no longer see the actual social icon. Now, one of our biggest integrations that we have past sending contact information is actually receiving account information from custodians and aggregators. So for instance, if I come back over to Tim's record and I click on Tim Taylor here, what I'm going to do is go over to the left-hand side and click on accounts. This is going to take me to his portfolio balance. Now, in this case, you'll see I have his accounts listed here. A lot of the times, you might actually have an integration set up with like Allbridge or Investigo or one of our many other custodians or aggregators that feeds account information into the database. This is where those actual accounts will show when they're linked up with the contact record. I do want to stress that the information that comes over is going to be account information only, and we can really only guarantee the account number, the tax ID, and the account balance. So those three items are really the only things that we can guarantee that are coming over for those types of integrations. And so again, this is account information that's feeding over from another company into our product and linking up with the contact record. It's great to have that information come over because not only can I view it from the contact, but I can also run searches and reports based off of the portfolio balance. So if I do want to actually run searches and find any active client who has $500,000 or more, because I have an integration set up, I can definitely do those types of searches. Now, if it is linked up from an integration, what you will see is you'll see I have 4 different little flags here. If it's coming from an integration, it'll say linked account as one of these flags. If it doesn't have that linked account feed, it means that your accounts were set up manually and they will not update automatically. And so that update that comes from those integrations is always going to show the closing balance of the day before. So again, it's going to show the closing balance of the day before. So it's really just showing you a general idea. I also do want to point out that the account information does not have historical information or reporting, performance reporting. It's only going to show you the balance at that time. Now, if you've set up your integration with accounts to feed in and maybe you're not seeing them set up or linked to a contact record, the best way to do, the first thing you want to do actually is go to the Today page. And in the top right-hand corner, you're going to see the AUM. You're going to select that. This is going to show you all the open accounts that are actually attached to contact records already. But over on the right-hand side, you'll see a section that says unlinked accounts. Now, a lot of the times when you first set up an integration with the accounts coming over, this is one of the first places they're going to go. So you might see a number here. And if you do see a number, you're just going to click on it and it's going to load this page. Now, right now, I don't have any accounts feeding into this demo database, but if you did, I'm going to see a line with the account title number and the tax ID number. What I can do is I can choose to run the auto link. And what that is going to do is send all the accounts that see a matching tax ID and a contact record to that contact record for me. And it should happen just automatically. If it doesn't link, it means one of two things. Either you don't have a contact record that has that actual tax ID, or it could mean that maybe a tax ID is on 2 different contact records, and so it doesn't know which one to go to. The other option is, again, like it might be wrong information, but because it's coming over from your aggregators, that information is strictly coming from them and we can't override anything. So if you do see wrong information coming over, feel free and always reach out to our support team. We can help you out. But a lot of the times we do have to send you over to them to double check because we cannot control the information they are sending us. Now, again, if the run auto link for these accounts does not go for all of them, what you can then do is choose to manually link them up. And so you will have an action item on this page to choose to manually link to a specific contact record that you want.
Thanks so much for joining us today for this particular session. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to give us a call at 800-206-5030, option 3 for support, or just shoot us an email over to support@redtailtechnology.com. Thanks a lot and have a great day.